Stay tuned later in the video. I'm going to share an idea of a fun little activity I thought we could do during the winter time. And the reason for that is because I want to renovate these garden spaces. And my favorite part of autumn is right behind me. Maybe we can use pictures from your garden and we can all design our gardens together. Hi, I'm Sue from Garden Moxie. Welcome to my garden. I garden in southeast Michigan. My garden is in a zone 6A. So today I just wanted to share one last look at the autumn garden and just compare it to how the garden looked in the springtime. For me as a gardener, I'm always interested in understanding what plants look like through the entire growing season. What I'll do is I'll take some pictures from the spring and the summer and now in the fall, so we can get an idea of how the garden looks through the whole year. And the thing that's great about that activity is it teaches us what is missing and how we can really get a garden that looks great all season long. That's my goal. I'm still working on it. So I'll turn the camera around and I can show you how things are looking. So here's a quick look at the back garden. You can see that the Japanese maples now are starting to change colors. And then I've got 4 main flower beds that are surrounded by boxwood. I've got a round garden in the center where I've got my fountain. Again, that is also surrounded by boxwood. And I've got a hornbeam hedge in the back that kind of divides and creates a garden room for my Mary garden. And you can see I've got, some brown blooms from the Limelight hydrangeas. I've got lots of evergreen that I rely on for the winter garden so that I've got some structure, because I always wanted the garden to look like a garden, even during the winter time. Now, one of the things that I did do this season is I removed a lot of the plant material in each one of these flower borders. And the reason for that is because I want to renovate these garden spaces. Really, what happened, they were originally planted for more of a sunny location. Now the trees have gotten much bigger and it's really a part sun, shady kind of situation back here. So it's going to be fun to figure out how to change this up a bit. And one of the things I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to be removing the Limelight hydrangeas. I think I love the Limelight hydrangeas, but they're just too big and they're creating too much shade in that specific flower bed. I've got one here that I might keep and just make sure that I prune that up really small, try to keep it in a smaller size. But that large one there, I think I'm going to be digging that Limelight hydrangea up and moving it. So this is the back corner of my garden. I've got this I've got a blood good Japanese maple. I actually got this on sale at Home Depot for like 20 bucks. So I love that tree. This area here is a native woodland border. I'm going to continue to add plant material here, and I'm excited to see what this is going to look like come the springtime. The flowers should really start maturing at that time. They looked very pretty this spring. I had some beautiful blooms. The geraniums looked great, and just the different plant material that I had. I've got some native heuchera and some maidenhair fern and some Canadian anemones, and these plants looked so pretty in the springtime. Again, I love this Japanese maple, and I'm just so happy with how the color is turning in the autumn. This tree here is a little bit more protected, and I'm noticing it's a little bit darker than the one that's out exposed in the garden there. But it's just got the prettiest colored leaves. I love it. So this area here is a native woodland border that I planted a couple seasons ago. This is its first full season, and I planted them as seedlings the year prior to that. So this spring was really the first time that I expected these plants to bloom, which they did. Now I had some meadowrue, some native meadowrue. I didn't realize and didn't think about it. The bunnies absolutely love that plant. So I'm gonna have to do some thinking about changing this area up just a little bit, adding some more plant material come the springtime. So that's one of the areas I'll be thinking about this winter, and taking lots of pictures now so that I know what I want to do come the spring for just adding some more plant material here. Now, one of the things that I am kind of thinking about is really replacing this lilac. It is so unusual. We've gotten strange. This is the second season I actually have this thing is blooming again. Let me show you. Not real big blooms, but yeah, so I've got this plant is actually blooming right now, which, you know, it's November. It's not supposed to be blooming. So this lilac tree just really doesn't seem to like this area. I don't think it really gets enough sun. It was really unhealthy during the growing season. And this is a big space. I don't want to just keep this here for the sake of keeping it here. So I will look at it come the springtime. And if I feel like this is a losing battle, then this tree is going to get removed. And one of the things I'm thinking about is to add another Japanese maple here, because I think that would be a great location for another Japanese maple. Now you can see I've lost most of the leaves for the forest pansy redbud tree, so it's looking more open back here, and I already am missing the leaves. But it's still, with the garden path, the structure, the trees, it still looks pretty here. And I think it still looks like a garden, even though we're here in November. I can still sit outside and, you know, make sure that I'm bundled up, but it's still a nice place to be. It's nice and quiet, and it still like being in the garden. What I'm planning to do this winter is really focus on how I want to plant this area. And it's going to be done on a super budget. I'm probably going to, the plants that I am going to plant here, most likely, most of them will be grown from seed. So we'll be doing that as well in some of the upcoming videos. I talked about probably removing this Limelight hydrangea. I have added new arborvitaes into the center here. They are starting to get a little bit bigger, which is nice to see. And I am hoping that I can beat the Boxwood moth. So the BT that I used really did work well. Besides the center part, these boxwood here look fairly healthy still, so fingers crossed on that one. So how I'm going to do this is I'm planning on taking photographs of each of these areas. And I know what the size is here because I've measured them before. These are roughly 11 feet by 25 feet long. What I'm trying to do is have interest all season long. So, I mean, you can see what these areas looked like in the springtime, but I really want to have more flowers and more interest and really have these areas filled to the brim if I can. At least that's what we're going to start doing come spring. Yes, the hornbeam leaves are just starting to turn yellow now, and I need to come in here and just cut back these daisies to the ground. I still have not taken out these hydrangeas. They're not cold hardy. It gets, if we get a cold, if this winter gets cold, these things are not going to bloom next season. But anyway, we'll worry about that next year. I always say I'm going to take them out, and I never do. But I'm going to be cutting these daisies back to the ground. I'm happy to report for the most part that the boxwood here are doing okay. The boxwood at the end that got where I found out that I had the boxwood moth, that poor boxwood is starting to come back a little bit, but it looks so bad. And again, you know, everything is pretty well done for the season, and it's still, you know, with the hedge and stuff, it still feels like a cozy little garden. And this actually is one of my favorite spaces in the wintertime. I love it when it snows and when it covers the hedges and the trees. I think it looks so pretty. Now, one of the questions that I do get is how I handle the leaves that fall in the yard. And all I do is I just blow them back into the flower beds and just leave them there. I also shred up the leaves when I'm cutting the grass. I'll probably do, I'm pretty well done for this season. If I'll probably have leaves from the front that I'll still add as mulch to the borders here, but I don't really break up my leaves. I just let them go. And the reason I can do that in the back garden is because it's fenced in, so the leaves aren't going to be blowing all over my neighbor's yard. In the front garden, I have to be a little bit more cautious, but I'm trying to leave stuff alone for the most part, especially in the pollinator garden, because I don't want to disturb any of the caterpillars or any of the bumblebees that have nested into the border. I'm going to leave that stuff alone as best as I can until very late in the spring when everything really starts warming up. So one of the things I want to really start doing is relying more on shrubs in the garden. First of all, they don't really require very much input from us. Here I've got this spirea. It looks great in the autumn. It turns colors, the leaves turn colors. I mean, it will lose its colors come, once we get a really hard frost. But this also blooms early in the springtime and adds another bit of interest. And the only thing I need to do to this plant is just trim it in the spring. So it's so easy, and I'm trying to, as I'm going to be designing the areas again or renovating the areas, I'm going to be thinking of getting plants that don't require a lot of fussing and try to get plants that look good all season long. And I think shrubs are definitely something to keep in mind. All right, so the last area I wanted to show you, before the winter sets in, is the pollinator garden. Now, I'm going to be leaving this alone, as I said, because I don't really want to disturb any of the critters that are nesting in this area. But again, I point this out every video. Just look at this penstemon Midnight Masquerade. It is still looking awesome in the garden, and it is, it's the middle of November. So everything is looking great. I am getting some blooms on my Carthusian pinks here, which is kind of fun. We still haven't gotten a super hard frost. We've gotten frost, you can tell. I mean, everything's pretty much dying back. But I am so excited about next season with the pollinator garden. And I can't wait to see the swallowtail butterflies, because we found those caterpillars on the bronze fennel. So many exciting things to look forward to. Yeah, so I was pretty interested to see just this one little bloom on this Carthusian pink here in November. And these have all gone to seed. I did collect some seeds from these plants so that I can grow some more in the springtime here. But you can see here what the seed pods look like. I don't know if there's any seeds in here or not. Let me try to figure that out here. All right, so let me see if there's any. I don't think there's any seeds left in here. I was just going to show you what I am incorrect. There are seeds left in here. So you can see there's the seeds from the Carthusian pinks up, and they have gone into the garden. I just wanted to show you what they look like. I've already collected some of these seeds so that I can grow them over the winter time here and put them in the garden again in the spring. So again, there's what the seed pods look like. I've already collected mine for this season, but you can see right there lots of seeds that I'll be able to use. There's a little critter right there. Yep, lots of seeds that I'll be able to use there. So very nice. But now you can see the redbud tree, the leaves are done for the season. It looks so different. That is a great tree. It looks great in the springtime when it blooms. It looks great in the autumn when the leaves turn yellow. And when it gets covered with snow, it's another beautiful sight. So what I thought we could do for the winter time, because I was trying to think of something fun that we could do during the winter time. For those of us in the Midwest, winter is not a time that we'll be gardening. So I am going to be having a wintertime garden design book club. I'll be focusing on 5 books that I've selected, and if you don't want to read, you don't have time to read, it doesn't even matter. You don't need to read the books. The idea is just to get a group of people together to talk about garden design. I'll be sending out a newsletter. I'll have a sign up in the description below. Go ahead if you're interested in being part of this group. It's going to run from January 2025 until April. So just something that we can do during the winter months. And the lessons that I learn from the books that I've selected, I've picked the books specifically to help me with ideas on how to renovate this back garden. One of the books that I'll be covering is this book by Vita Sackville-West titled In Your Garden. She wrote these articles with the idea of giving some suggestions to amateur gardeners about some unusual plants that you might grow, something that your neighbors might not have or might not know about. So I think that it'll be fun just to read some old gardening books and have a little book club for the winter. So leave me some comments and let me know what your garden design goals are for the winter time. Maybe we can use pictures from your garden and we can all design our gardens together. So if you're interested in submitting your garden, if you're looking for some improvements or looking for some help, why don't we use that as one of our tasks for our garden design wintertime book club. That's it for this video, friends. We'll see you in the next one.